I honestly haven't listened to any podcasts this past week. It's been crazy, except for one football one. I did listen to ESPN football.
And we are live, by the way.
I know. Here we
Better get
go.
this shit started, don't we?
Jenny's
Let's
gonna
get
be
this shit
pissed
started.
now.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to episode 315 of your Overseas Connection podcast, the official podcast of the G4TE.com community. That is Gaming for the Elderly, and today is April 10th, 2015. I am just one of your hosts today, Greg DeLacy, gamertag Murphy's Law, OC_Murphy's Law on the old Twitters. And joining us this week, front and center, Mr. Mark Hanex, Mark Wright.
Hello.
Looking
How you
snazzy,
doing,
Mark.
Greg? Yeah. I've actually clean shaven for once in my life. So,
Clean
yeah.
shaven, wash
Yeah.
the sheets. I like that.
The sheets
Thank
now
you.
turned into cardboard.
Yep.
So
It's good.
I just need to decorate it now. I need to paint the logo on the background, don't I?
That's good. Yeah, I like it. I like it.
Yeah, so I'm Mechanics on Xbox Live, PSN, Steam, Twitter, everywhere else, really.
Okay.
That's about it. Oh, look, Parsnip's in the chat.
Oh, parsnip. Rich, Mr. Richard Webster, also on the podcast this week. Drinking tea, I take it?
Drinking tea and talking to you through my pop filter.
Rich, what kind of tea are you drinking tonight?
This is actually, I'm being naughty, you see, Greg.
You're being naughty. Does it have alcohol in it?
No, I'm drinking using a PG Tips tea cozy. Sorry, a Tetley's tea cozy, but I'm drinking PG Tips tea bags.
PG Tips tea bags.
Yeah, it's kind of like the, I don't know, the New York Jets, I don't know, New York Mets versus the Yankees or whatever of the
Okay.
tea world.
All right. Fair enough. I don't
Yeah,
know.
but I'm here,
This
I'm
makes
Big
no
Bad Daddy.
sense to me at all, by the way.
Big Bad Daddy, Richard Webster. I'm that guy who does all those annoying videos and shit.
Annoying videos. No, come on. They're great videos. Except for when you
know.
have the audio screwed up.
Yeah, when I have the audio right or the webcam right, they're not too bad.
No. We do
Yeah.
all right for ourselves. Now, speaking of crappy things, we also have on the show this week, I can't believe I'm going to say this, Gary DiFelici, the real Defoe, my friend, my
A mortal
nemesis.
enemy.
Yes, my mortal enemy,
Hello, DeLacy.
Gary. How are
Newman.
you? Newman.
Every
How you
time I
doing?
say DeLacy, I want to say it in a Newman style. I'll tell you that.
I feel the same way. Defoe.
What's going on, boys? It's nice to be here.
Yeah, Gary,
I-
we've got you on loan for like an hour, I think. Is that
Yeah.
correct?
These Friday night podcasts, you guys have asked me quite a few times, and I've denied you over and over again. I do apologize. We kids are usually running all over. Tonight just happened to work out where
Right.
I can be home for an hour and come in and trash talk you.
I appreciate that. Thank you. It's nice to have you on, Gary. And
Well,
we'll be trash
thank
talking
you.
you a little later on when we announce next week's the Golf Club Challenge course, because you picked this out, my friend. You picked it out, not me,
did.
not
I
Mark.
did.
You.
I did put it out to the group. It is a very challenging course. You've played it already, Greg.
Yes. Yes.
It's one of the ones that you have to play for the Q School for the TGC, the golfclubtours.com. It is a nasty course, and I think every time I play it, for some reason, the winds are 15 to 20 miles an hour, which really pisses me off, and I can't keep the ball in the fairway. But whatever. Hey, who gives a shit?
Whatever. Yes.
You guys can curse me next week.
Oh, we will. We'll probably
Yeah,
curse
we
you
will.
this week,
Yeah,
Gary. By the time
absolutely
you're
will.
off this podcast, I will have cursed you at least 5 or 10 times. All right. Well, before we get on with what we've been playing and kind of into the full swing of the show, Mr. Webster, if you would be so kind, I want to get a little housekeeping out of the way. I want to shout out some of our followers, subscribers, all that good stuff.
Yeah, of course, mate. Well, recently to the YouTube channel for Gaming for the Elderly, we have Adam Brown and Jason Bailey. They've recently subscribed. I believe Jason Bailey also subscribes to a lot of other channels as well, so to include us in that list. Thanks, Jason.
Thank you, Jason. Yeah.
Twitch, where our 4 most recent followers on Twitch, we love you guys, is Assassin's Greed, spelt in a very elite, cool way.
Elite, absolutely.
So we've got that guy there, that legend. The League 1861. So, yeah, RCGC. Apparently James is Mark Hannick's nephew.
Assassin's Creed, yeah. Sorry,
Assassin's Creed, yes. Yeah.
Assassin's Creed, yeah. Assassin's
It
Creed.
is Marcanix's elite nephew.
Leet, awesome nephew. So we've got him. RCGC and Chapstick.
Chapstick, about time. That's all I got to
yeah.
say to that.
Where the hell you been? Housekeeping wise, for now, mate, as the Twitch is only just started, it will kick off a bit more later. But for now, there isn't. Well, my viewers list isn't working. Oh, there we go. Destiny, RNG, and good old Parsnip Nose has popped on by, and obviously us guys. We're in the chat as well, moderating, keeping those bots at bay.
Nice. All right.
Stirring the pot.
Well, I suppose we should talk about video games. It's kind of what we do. So, Gary, being that you're our guest, and I use that term very loosely.
Ooh.
Gary, what have you been playing this past week?
So what have I been playing? You know, I had a nice little array of games. I was playing a little Shadows of Mordor on the PC and all this great stuff, and really playing a lot of different stuff. And then that stupid game, Bloodborne, came into my life. Lacey, don't you say a freaking word.
You know,
I see it.
Why I invited you on this podcast, I don't know. I know now. I now know why Mark wanted you on the podcast.
Yeah.
All right, please explain to me how many times you saw the screen. You died.
Oh, dude, I'm a lagtard. I see that screen a lot. So I will tell you, I've never played Dark Souls. I played a little Dark Souls once, and I was scared. Everybody said, don't go down the stairs, don't go here. And I played real sparingly and got killed and just got frustrated and said, nah, I'm not going to play this. But I'm glad that it didn't stop me from trying to jump into Bloodborne, because it really is a fantastic game. Visually, it's beautiful. Gameplay is fantastic. It's melee, but if you play smart, you can live. So I die, but it's usually when I'm doing something dumb or getting myself into an area where I shouldn't be at. So it's fantastic. It's fucking great. I love it.
Who am I to say anything different? Certainly, I would never say anything disparaging about a From Software game like Bloodborne or Dark Souls.
Because you tried to play it during Extra Life, if I recall, which was just a terrible idea.
No. I actually tried to play Alien Isolation during Extra Life. That was a very stupid idea because I did it in the middle of the night when it was dark and I was by myself.
I thought you did Dark Souls 2 years ago.
Maybe. I'm getting old, Gary. They all blend together. I can barely remember what I played last week.
Yeah, you are old.
Ah, you bastard. All right, so Bloodborne. I mean, it's living up to the hype for you.
It really is. It's a PlayStation. It's a reason to buy a PlayStation. Damn it!
Is it really a reason to buy a PlayStation?
Yep.
Or is there any? I would actually.
Yes,
counter
we know
this.
someone, don't we, Gary?
There is no one game out there that is a reason to buy a console, and I will stand by that. Any game, Uncharted, Halo, Gears, Bloodborne. There's not a sole game out there to buy a console, but it certainly is a reason.
It is a reason. If you are on the fence and you're not sure which way to go, I think the PlayStation right now is offering 2 exclusives that you can't get on the Xbone.
Mm-hmm.
That being Bloodborne, and if you never played The Last of Us, which I know you have,
right?
That game's great. Like, you should experience that.
Yeah,
oh,
that
and
is a
as
good game.
Parsnip said, The Crew, of course, but that's on both consoles, and that is a great game.
No.
Woo!
No, it is not a great game.
I guess it's 5 o'clock out there, huh? He must be drinking already.
Yeah, happy hour. Yeah. The Crew. Yeah. God, there's a game we can forget.
But no, we have the Xbox too, and I don't mean to make the Xbox and PS4, but I'm always trying to get more people to play the PS4. Like Ensign Dead Meat, if you're listening, bitch, buy the PS4. I just want more company on there because I can't get on my Xbox. We bought the kids the Xbox for Christmas. It is dominated. They are on there all the time. Actually, today they're going, hey, Murphy's Law is on. I don't know. Did you send a hello to them or something today? Or
no, I probably just chimed in. I typically, here's a little behind the scenes thing. I usually go on offline a lot of the time because, I have our cable box running through our Xbox One. And so a lot of the time I'm just, it's on the TV channel for my child. He's sitting there watching cartoons, whatever. So I'll just go on offline this way. We're not getting messages coming over left and right. And people are thinking, why is he ignoring me? Although in your case, I would ignore you, Gary.
Of course. I was actually on it today to download NHL 15 for them for free.
Yes,
One of those nice new EA
that
access.
that fantastically bad value. Yeah,
I really did think it was bad when it first came out, but it's great. I've gotten the kids so many games, and you can share it for all users on the console.
Mm-hmm.
It's a damn good thing.
Yeah, and so this actually, you bring up a point or a topic that I was going to actually cover with Fraser Morse, and I'm talking to him separately about this. But one of the things that a lot of people don't know about the Xbox One is you can actually set up to have your home console and another friend's home console, basically swap them out. So Gary, you could have your console set up as my home console and have my gamer tag on your system at your place, and then I would have my console set up as Gary D. Felice's home console, and your gamer tag would be on my console, and then effectively all of our digital titles, we both could play one another's digital games.
Have you tried that yet, or?
I have not. I've been waiting for "quote unquote" the right person, but I know several people that do it. Gary, I don't. I was talking to Fraser about doing it. My only concern is the Canada-U.S. thing, so that potentially could be an issue. But
the Canadian police will be down there.
Well, I don't know.
It works between US and UK because
okay.
So Nicole didn't lose a Destiny freebie upgrade to Xbox One before she got the console. I logged in as her here, made my Xbox One her home console, and I can play Destiny and not even be logged in as her.
Yeah, so you'd log in under your own gamer tag.
Yeah,
you just have to have Destiny. It. The one thing I have heard is that you do have the only way you can play the other digital titles is by being online. You can't actually take your console offline. You could appear offline, but you have to be logged into Xbox Live.
On both consoles?
No. So if I wanted to jump in and play a game that you owned and we were sharing, as long as I'm logged into Xbox Live and the console itself is connected to the internet, I can access your games that are in quote unquote on my system, if that makes sense.
Yep.
So
but if I'm online, you can't access them.
No, we could actually play simultaneously the same game.
Really?
Yeah.
Steam doesn't let you do that.
Yeah, it's a feature that actually Microsoft doesn't really like to talk about that much because they don't want it to be abused, but it's part of their sharing plan, their family sharing plan.
I tell you, it also works on the PS4 as well.
Oh, okay, that's really good to know.
Because Parsnip's got two PS4s and two Xbox Ones, and he does that with both his consoles. So he'll just buy it once digitally, and he can play it with his wife on two separate consoles at the same time.
Playing with his wife? What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dirty little man.
It's good to see everybody copying Steam. The Steam stuff is awesome. I have my father in Florida. He has that. I mean, I have so many games on Steam just because I can't stop passing up deals that are $5 for games I won't play for 3 more years.
Or ever.
So I got this
or ever.
huge
Come
library.
on, face it.
My dad's accessing it. He loves it, and he's playing during the day because he's retired. My stepbrother plays with my games now, not me.
Okay.
It's a freaking great thing. I can't believe they let those things happen. But hey, God bless them.
Yeah, no. And this is definitely where competition is a very good thing because the competition between the console makers and Steam has really brought about this new kind of way of thinking about digital games and sharing, offering up a lot of sales, and I'm all for it, especially now that I'm trying to embrace more of a digital future.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah, actually, isn't it great?
I do like not getting off the couch to put a disc in. I find myself playing less and less of my disc-based games. I'm like, damn disc.
Plus, the other advantage is your wife doesn't know you bought the game.
There is that.
As long as you do the checking. She
Yes.
has no idea. I bought Bloodborne from work, and I went on my Vita, bought it, started the download, so it would be there when I got home. She had no idea.
Thank God for PayPal. Thank God
she does
for
now.
PayPal. Yeah.
She has no idea. She still doesn't know. She just says, you play too many games.
Yeah. I don't know what you're talking about.
True. It's not true.
All right.
The
Gary,
real deformed. Thanks, Fumu. Bastard.
anything else on the playlist outside of Bloodborne?
It's a Bloodborne. And the golf club, I still play that freaking crazy game. I did play that when it was early access. I have racked up 140 hours in the golf club over the last year, I guess. Which is
I have a feeling
lot
it's
for me.
it's increased substantially in the last 8 weeks, 10 weeks,
Yeah,
somewhere around there.
I think I hit about 100, maybe right around the winter time,
Okay.
and it didn't really get higher. And then since we've been playing all this stuff and the golf club tours and all that, now I've racked up and back up to 140. I think it's the game I've probably played the most of everything except for Unreal Tournament from the old days. But
Yeah.
since I've been tracking stuff since the Xbox 360 came out, I would imagine this is probably the game I've played the most, which
Yeah.
is sick.
It is my most played game now on the Xbox One for sure.
It's
XCOM
nice.
I
It's
think was the other one.
You can sit down. You can get a game. I can get a game in now, probably 25 minutes.
Yeah.
And then just move on. So I can get up in the morning if I'm up early enough because I usually wake up real early. If it's raining out and I'm not going out for a run, I'll just jump on, play a half hour of the golf club, and then go yell at the kids.
Nice. I like the yelling at the kids after you play the golf club because you're going to be severely angry at that point, pent up frustration. You're going to be like, oh, stupid
game is
double
so
bogey.
Fucking frustrating. I can hit really straight now, which it took me a while to get there. I have a tendency to slice it a little bit. And
Now,
I guess
are you using gamepad or are you using mouse and keyboard?
No, I'm using the PS4 controller.
Okay. All right.
And I guess because it's not offset like the Xbox, I have a tendency when I lift up to push off to the right a little bit.
All right.
So I finally got it where I'm a little more straighter. Once in a while, I still fade off to the right and do a slice. But for the most part, I'll go straight. But those crosswinds, I just cannot nail that when there's the winds going and even the diagonal wind.
Yeah.
I think that's why I can't be better than, a par to maybe like a -5 golfer on that thing. Because I don't think I'm putting it close enough to the hole. I'm trying to figure it out. It's either my putting or my approach shots. And I got to figure if I could leave myself with 10 foot or less of a putt,
You usually are making those.
I would make those, right?
Yeah.
Probably because
No.
I'm making 20-foot putts,
Yeah. The 20-foot putts are
which
tough.
I can't hit.
My favorite are the 55-foot putts.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's funny because we were talking about this before, and you were saying, you had this system of you'd use the D-pad and do clicks over for each mile an hour of wind for a crosswind. And I usually find that works pretty well for drives. But when it comes to your approach shots with your irons, that
nail
whole
it.
process, yeah, it kind of goes downhill because, and again, it feels a little bit random at times. Maybe that the game is cheating a little bit, but yeah, I find that I actually have to do more if it's a parallel crosswind or a horizontal crosswind, and then if it's just that slight diagonal one, I actually find if I match the number of clicks over to the miles per hour,
Yep.
usually that's pretty close.
My clicks, I think, are small. I'm not sure. But, the guy that
There's
wrote
a joke
the
to be
stuff
made
said,
there, Gary, and I'm not going to go there.
Hey, it works, though. I have 3 kids. But, yeah, I do my 3 clicks, 5 clicks, whatever. The diagonal wind screws me up. It's all good, though.
Yeah.
Like, it just drives me nuts when I go on those tournaments and I see what those guys are putting up. 20 under, 25 under, through 2 rounds, 3 rounds. I don't get it.
No, I want to spend some time. I'm imagining they have forums somewhere within TGC Tours, and they actually can talk about that kind of stuff. And there's probably some good tips to be learned.
There are. There's a
But-
guy on there that's phenomenal. He's like the number 4 or second or 4th ranked player on their site. And he put together really good stuff. But it's up
Right.
to you to execute, too.
No, absolutely. And one thing I want to point out, and this just goes to a comment that somebody had made I want to say it was on Twitter, and they were talking about they thought about picking up the golf club, but there wasn't any single player progression. TGCtours.com, they have a tournament system in place that really it acts like a single player progression system. You earn money, you earn dollars for each tournament you go into, depending on where you finish, and if you make the cut, you'll earn more money. And so it is to me it's like a real life version of what the actual tour is like. So it's kind of a perfect progression system or single player game. But
Yeah, they have a.
oh,
There's
really, Mark? Really?
He's bored, I guess, huh?
Bastard.
They have a single player DLC coming out.
I've heard it is going to be paid for though.
Yeah, I think it's, I don't know, I think $15 maybe.
Yeah.
But they're also re-releasing the game, which is why I think it's on sale right now. So if you guys, by the way, haven't bought it, I think it's only $10 American on the Xbox. There is a new version coming out, I think within a month or two, that will have that new stuff in it already. And then people that already own the game can buy it later as DLC like a month or two afterwards.
Okay.
So,
All right.
but that's it. That's all I'm playing. I talked a lot, and I only talked a little bit about what I played, but God bless you. Thanks for having me.
You are more than welcome. Gary, for those people think I hate you, Gary. I don't hate you. I hate your choice in football teams and hockey teams and baseball. I hate your choices, Gary. That's what it boils
By the
down
way,
to.
let me say a couple real quick sport nuggets. My Islanders made the playoffs, motherfuckers. Woo! Okay? Yes,
They did.
So we're very excited about that. And unfortunately, the Rangers won the President's Cup, and we're not happy about that because we hate the Rangers here. And Webster was talking about watching a baseball game once with the Yankees and the Mets in the World Series, and I was actually at some of those games.
Really?
I wasn't at the game where Piazza was thrown at and broke his bat and threw it back at the pitcher.
Yeah.
But I was there when they won the World Series. I was actually at Shea Stadium for that, and I rode back on the Yankee player bus from Shea Stadium to Yankee Stadium. My brother was a cop then, and we had a connection. So I was actually on the on the bus with Yankee players, the managers, Bernie Williams. It was Roger Clemens. It was really cool. But
Were you just sitting in the corner giggling the entire time?
it was my brother and I, and we were just like, Roger Clemens walks by us with this gigantic shoebox, and I'm like, holy shit, it's fucking Clemens. And as he walked by, he just said something like, I got to go home. I got to start taking those meds again, or something weird like that. Like, just like, he was so frustrated. I'm like, not surprised.
Yeah.
He's probably talking about different drugs, but anyway.
Quite possibly. But anyway.
He was a big steroid guy. Yeah, so that's my sports. How are your Sharks doing, by the way?
Gary, we don't need to talk anymore. So anyway, Mr. Webster, what have you been playing this past week?
Well, I've been playing a little bit of GTAs. I've not got anything decent for videos yet because it's Grand Theft April. But playing a few of those because we've obviously got the giveaway, which I'll talk about later. But I suppose the main game I've played this week, Greg, is the Rainbow Six Siege Alpha.
Yes. So
Can you talk about that?
Who gives a fuck?
Hey, if we play Fortnite one night, finally, you're going to talk about that? Because I know we're not allowed to.
Yeah, well, we definitely need to talk about that. No, I don't know. There's a million Twitch streams and a million videos on YouTube now. So this day and age, you can't hold an alpha to the constraints of the former years.
yeah.
But if I get my Uplay banned, I'll lose Assassin's Creed 3.
Well, and I think it's also one of those cases of when the company thinks that the game is going to be received positively, they usually don't care so much about people talking about the alpha. It's when they think that it's going to be really negative. Usually they're strict on the NDAs and taking videos down left and right. So I'm assuming by the fact that all of these videos have stayed up and running of the alpha footage that Ubisoft is feeling pretty good about Rainbow Six Siege.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of things that stand out that you can really tell it's an alpha. Like some of the textures aren't finished, for one. A lot of the outer scenery, like outside the house or outside the airplane, the textures are really low res and just crap. But they're like, they're just there for now type of thing. You can't choose any graphics options at all apart from resolution and refresh rate. That's it.
Okay.
But they're all there. You can see them all. You just can't select them. They do also have a field of view slider, which is kind of good in a shooter for PC, having a field of view.
Field of view. So explain that to a layman like myself. I mean, are you talking about changing it out from like first person to third person, or are you talking about how wide is, in a sense, the camera will pan out?
Layman means old man, by the way.
Really?
The second one. So basically, like how much of the screen your eyes can see. So as human beings, we have quite a wide field of view, as wide as that cock. Then, but a lot of games have a really short field of view. Alien Isolation by default's one of them. I think Far Cry 3's got a really short one by default.
Right.
So you can increase that. I mean, you can increase it so much where you get like a fishbowl effect. So you've got to find a sweet spot. There are websites that tell you. I think it's like 91 vertical field of view. I think is a sweet spot for 16:9 resolution. I think that equates to about 75 or 54 horizontal. I can't remember off the top of my head.
It's knowledge right there.
but so the alpha is has latency issues and a couple of things where like there'll be an infinite load screen and things like that. So it was a little bit difficult to get into a game at first.
Okay.
But once I was in a game, I didn't get kicked out, which I was expecting. So I was in there for a solid hour, and we played lots of games because these rounds are quick. They're like 5-minute rounds. Do you know what I mean? So
Okay.
it's quick fire.
Kind of like old school Rainbow Six. I mean, those
Yeah.
those matches usually lasted about 5 minutes, and it was like, usually I think the majority of people were dead within the first 2 minutes, and then it was the last like 3 minutes was usually like 1v2, someone running around trying to save themselves, and then two people trying to hunt them down.
That's basically it, yeah, and it adds a sort of it adds an anxiety level to the game as well because you know that you've got to carry out your mission within that 5 minutes because the only mission they've got at the minute is the hostage. That's the only one they've got. And I played on 2 maps. I think there's an airplane map and a house map.
Okay.
The airplane map's really cool because it's different. You had an airplane in I think Modern Warfare 2 multiplayer. There was an airplane on a level of the airport level, and that was quite cool. And this is quite cool as well because it's like a big. I think it's Air Force One because one of the areas where you can spawn is the presidential suite or something. So that's quite cool. As you start as the game, you basically choose a loadout. Now this was quite interesting. There's I think 5 loadouts in the game, and you can't have 2 people be in the same one.
Okay.
So I think the way they've designed the levels and designed the gameplay is that someone has to do that job.
Okay. But
So someone has to have a shotgun.
So let me ask you this, because this was actually one of the issues I kind of took with Evolve, was that you had these predefined roles that everybody had to kind of fill out, and so if you wanted to play the assault person, you had to put in for it. But if 2 people in the match wanted to play assault or penguin, they were limited to only one person could be the penguin, and then somebody had to be the Joker, and then somebody had to play Batman.
Yeah. Well, the way it works is each of the classes that I can't remember the names off the top of my head, but like one is like a basic assault guy, one's like an explosive expert. But as the attacker, all of you have a method of breaching through doors or walls. It's just a different method.
Okay.
So one guy will have C4, one guy will have a breaching charge, which is basically C4. I think there's a big sledgehammer thing or something I saw on one of them. So you all have a way of doing it. It's just a different way. And you do have ways to customize your loadout, but I didn't have any online to choose. So you unlock guns for your loadouts.
Okay.
So you basically choose one of the 5 loadouts. It's generally a rush who can get the one that you like the most, but not all of them have like a single type of weapon. So I think 3 of them had like machine gun weapons. So if you're worried that only one person will be like an assault guy, there's 2 other classes that have a machine gun type weapon as well. I'll basically just talk through the way it plays, and then I'll talk about some of the things that are bad with it and some things that are good with the game. So the round starts, and you choose via voting system where you want to spawn, whether you're the attacker or the defender. So there's like 4 spawn points in the map, so you choose if you want to spawn like A, B, C or D and you vote. And if you're defending and you've got the hostage, you choose where in the house or where in the airplane you want to set up base. And when you start the game, I don't know what it was like in other Rainbow Six games, but this definitely wasn't the case in Vegas 2. You start off with this little wheel camera on like a little wheel thing. Everyone.
Okay.
And if you're an attacker and that camera you control, then you basically go around the map on this little tiny RV type little camera to try and find. I think you get like 20 seconds or something. You've got to try and find the hostage where they're setting up base, because when you do that, they become a waypoint on your map then, and you know where they are.
Okay. All right.
So it's basically just all these RV little things running around at the start of the game for the first few seconds, and then you go in. And what's quite cool is that as the defenders and stuff, you can set up barriers on a lot of the walls, a lot of the doors, a lot of the windows, so for them to have to get in. And what a lot of people were doing was strategizing, where, say, if you start off in the bedroom, someone will run out into the hall and go into the other room and breach up those walls, because then the attackers might think that we're in there if they haven't spotted us already and stuff. And it also just gives them an extra level of difficulty to try and get through, especially on the airplane. If you're in the cockpit or close to the cockpit and you breach, protect, barricade all the walls up until the main entrance where they come from. They've got to get through all that shit before they get to you. So it's one of them as well. One of the as a defender, you can throw barbed wire down as a trap. So on those parts of the ceiling where there's like a hatch, you can put barbed wire down on the floor. So when people come through, they get hit by the barbed wire. A few little things like that. You can rappel up onto every roof area just automatically. You go up to it, it says press space to rappel, and you can go up or come down. You can rappel down. I think you can go through the windows as well, but I didn't get to try that out. There is no cover system.
None.
None.
No riot shields or anything.
The one guy can have a shield, and one guy can have a deployable shield, where it's like Army of Two. Was it Army of Two that had that, where you put a shield down? I can't remember. But there was no cover system where like you crouch behind a table and like look over it. The only thing you can do, whether I just didn't know the controls or whatever, but I didn't see anyone covering, is just lean left or right. That's all you can do. Just lean left out of a cover and lean right.
But like, you know, if you lean or you're standing behind, say, a couch or something like that, it's going to, well, maybe not a couch. It's probably horrible cover because bullets would tear through it. But I mean, you know, if you're behind a wall, you're going to get some protection. Yeah, really padded couch.
Yeah, you do get some protection, but a lot of the stuff you can shoot through anyway.
Okay, but I mean, well, I guess that's a question. So in terms of the destructibility, I know pretty much everything is destructible, more or less.
No, I was surprised by how little destruction there was.
Really? Is it just walls then that?
It's only specific parts of specific walls in the wall. I couldn't blow through every wall.
Okay.
You can blow through what you can barricade, and just as an example, there was one part of a wall that had a door to the left, and I barricaded the door, and then I barricaded the wall next to it, and then there was a whole area of wall that I couldn't do anything with. Now, whether that was because they couldn't get through it on the other side anyway, I don't know, but there isn't a lot of destruction going on. I thought from the E3 presentation that as soon as you get into this game, everything just goes fucking nuts.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. So that's interesting. So, I mean, it in some respects, I guess, is good from a gameplay perspective because, I mean, literally you could just have the whole team set up the floor. You know, if you go in underneath, say, the basement, you just set all your charges up on the floor of the basement. Or the ceiling of the basement, you could literally blow away the entire floor of the bottom level.
Yeah, that is what was implied, but no, there's only to blow through like the ceiling or the floor, depending on where you are. There's only like a little. It looks like a kind of a loft, you know, like where you have an attic in your house, just like a box where you lay C4 and it blows up.
Okay, so they have predetermined places that you can actually destroy walls, that kind of thing.
Yeah, and the walls when they do blow up, you shoot through them and like shoot through. You got like those walls that you have in America. We don't really have them, but they're like plaster over wooden things. I don't really know how to describe it. We don't really have that type of wall over here.
What kind of walls do you guys have over there?
Bricks.
Bricks.
Tin walls.
It's because you were so close to the Nazis, I guess, huh?
Yeah. So like you can shoot. There is a bit of destruction, but no, it's not going to be frostbite engine destruction. From what I could see, barely anyone goes for destruction. You basically just go through the barricade in the walls and the doors, and then it's normal Rainbow Six gameplay.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm disappointed to hear that. Pretty disappointed because I really wanted to see Battlefield Bad Company 2 level of destruction where you could really wreak havoc, but you know. Being no vehicles being involved, I think it would lend itself nicely.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's only an alpha, and there was only 2 maps.
Okay.
So there might be things they're working on and stuff, but yeah, I didn't see the level of destruction that they showed at E3 at all. At E3, it was fucking chaos.
Right.
But in this one, it was just controlled. It was like, and it's a lot slower as well. In E3, it made it look like a Call of Duty. It was all action.
Right.
But that's not how you play Rainbow Six because it's hardcore. 2 hits, you're dead. So you can't run around and blow shit up.
Most E3 first sort of like initial looks at games, they're never the same.
Especially from Ubisoft.
Yeah. But, the Order 1886, that bit where they pull up in that stagecoach type thing and we all get out with the weapons and you see these things running on the walls, that wasn't in the game. It never happened.
I know.
So
yeah, be wary. But like I said, it is only an alpha, and they're testing specific things. You can tell that they're testing the latency and stuff. the networking and all that matchmaking, all that sort of stuff. But from for the most part, all of that's pretty solid at the moment. I'll go through some of the things that I noticed that were bad with the game. It does well. This is a good thing. It shows you the kill cam
Okay.
when you die, like Call of Duty. So it'll show you a clip of the guy running up, seeing you, and shooting you. When you're dead, you're dead.
Right.
But you can get revived when you're like really injured, which is quite good. So you'll see a guy crawling away, and you can revive them. But what is bad is, like, I noticed quite a lot of latency with me, and when I started the game, it come up saying my NAT was strict. I've never seen that fucking message in my life on my computer.
You
It's an
nuts.
Xbox thing.
It said,
Did you drop a
"Your NAT is
testicle or
strict."
something?
It said your NAT is strict. Press A to continue. I've not even got my controller plugged in. It was like, this is designed for Xbox, but so my NAT was strict, so maybe my network is a bit dodgy, but I've never had that problem before. But I noticed latency, like I'd be in the airplane behind a seat, and then I'd get shot, and I'd be like, fucking hell. And then on the other camera, you can clearly see the guy runs out of a corridor, spots me, and then
Right.
shoots me, and I never saw him. There was a lot of that, quite
Okay.
a lot. Recoil really annoyed me. I don't know if it's because Battlefield 4 has kind of lessened it a little bit, but visual recoil is annoying.
Right.
When you fire your weapon just goes nuts.
Well, and it's not just visual recoil. I'm assuming it's actual, physical recoil as well. So I mean, it literally is impacting the trajectory of the bullets as opposed to just being a visual thing.
You would expect it to impact the bullets, and in Battlefield 4, in the most recent update, they tweaked that so that it was less of a visual thing, and it was just more of a case of the bullets just go nuts anyway. So be careful. Whereas with this, you do even if you hold it down for like three hits, your gun just goes nuts. And a couple of times I shot the fucking hostage because my gun just merrily went into the way of the hostage whilst I was shooting in another direction. And that was a bit annoying. It seemed like it was a bit over the top. I know they're going for realism, but it just seemed too much compared to like Battlefield and other games.
Rich, Rainbow Six is the quintessential realism sim.
It seems like it's more though than Vegas 2. I think Vegas 2 had a sweet spot. I think with that.
Yeah, Vegas 2 was pretty sweet.
Yeah. So there was the visual recoil, and it was also the team play. It was putting me with like people from different languages, which fine. It's an alpha, But
Yeah.
I don't want that to be a problem in the game, because on this game you need to coordinate, because some people have the ability to look at their iPhone in the game and look at the cameras that they've left behind to see where the guys are moving to and stuff.
Oh, really?
You can't-
So it's got that second screen ability?
Yeah, so like when
that's
those
kinda
little
cool.
RV things go into the building, they all kick off about 10 seconds in, and then you go in. And one of the classes, I don't know if it's all of them or one only, but you go into your iPhone and you can cycle between the cameras on those things and like look around and see what's going on from where they were left off.
So basically, similar to the camera I have in Gary's kitchen,
Exactly.
I could throw it up on my iPhone, and then I would see on my iPhone what I see in the camera right now.
Yeah, the best type of analogy right there.
Hey, Rich,
so that
did
was
you
quite
did you get this? Did you get to play with friends? I just actually looked at my email and I did get my beta code for the PC.
Timely,
Did you
Gary.
try to play with
Timely.
people?
I don't see any way to have played with people. You start the game and you click play multiplayer, and then it finds a game for you.
Oh,
So you can't pull in friends yet or anything yet, huh?
No,
Okay.
unless there's some way to join through Uplay, but I've never played with friends on Uplay before in my life.
Uplay is that annoying app that just you use when you want to play one of their games here and there.
Yeah, definitely. It's it's very, very stripped down. So you literally just click play multiplayer, and if you're lucky, it doesn't freeze, because there's a lot of people who it freezes on. It was freezing on me a few times. I thought the Twitch stream would fuck off, but it finally worked. But like I said, once you're actually in a game, it was solid. I didn't get kicked out. It was an hour's worth of 5-minute rounds. I think it does best of 5 or best of 4 or first to 4, and then you change map and you can vote like where you want to spawn. So that's really good. On Battlefield 4 and 3, at the end where it shows your progression towards your next rank, it shows that.
Okay.
So that's quite good. Because there was no clear ranking system in Vegas 2, was there? It was just there. Whereas with Battlefield 3 and 4, it's a very visual thing. Everything's like this level to there, that to there. So that's quite good.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember how they did it in the Rainbow Six days. If they did, like, I thought you had like different, like you had a CQC level, you had
Yeah.
an assault
they had-
level, And then
Yeah,
I
they
read-
had the
Once you
levels
hit
to
50, you got elite, didn't you?
yeah, something
Yeah.
like that.
So they did it really well, but it was always kind of in the background. Whereas with this, it makes it a lot more like a Call of Duty Battlefield, like XP grabber. So like
Okay.
you put a barricade up, 5 XP. End of round, bring all your XP. That was an impression of the fucking noise. It's always showing you your points, so it sort of feeds to those people that are always about ranking up, because a lot of people in first-person shooter competitive, that's all they care about, having fun, ranking up. That's all they want
Well,
to do.
let's face it, that is the new thing right now. Shooters need to have these progression RPG elements to have sustainability. Otherwise, they die off really fast. It was one of the big problems with Titanfall.
But despite the things that I don't like with it, I think it's probably going to be a buy for me. But it's a very team-based game. If unless you've got friends who play it, or unless the community really gets behind it and plays properly, you're fucked. You can't just run off on your own, and you rely on communication.
Well,
so it's going to suffer the Evolve problems potentially.
potentially. I think really what it boils down to, it's that progression system. If they have enough in the progression system built in to where, you can, rank up and you earn new weapons and you earn new ranks and armor and things like that kind of impact the game, so to speak. I think that has longevity. People like that pellet feeding of earning stuff. And Titanfall, one of its biggest problems was that you burned through that progression really fast, and suddenly there was nothing left to get. So,
Yeah.
God, Gary,
I think-
we are frozen on your camera on probably the worst picture possible for you right now.
That is awesome.
Or at least that's
You don't
what I
see me
see
moving?
on my Skype. No,
Yeah, I
I'm
can
sorry.
see
Can you hear me though?
I can hear you just fine.
Oh, then that's fine.
Yeah.
Can you see this?
No.
No, we cannot, Gary. All I see is you with your eyes closed. Yes. Maybe that's for the best. Maybe it's
Turn
for
my
the
camera
best.
off and on.
All right.
So yeah, just want to give a quick shout out to Step J, because he's in the chat now, because he showed up and he watched for a while. So yeah, I think like you said, just dead quickly, the progression needs to be there. I think the maps have got to be very important as well. There needs to be a lot of flexibility and a lot of differing strategies for the maps for them to stay sort of fresh, because there's only so many places you can spawn. So as long as they get the tight maps and the good progression, I think this game might do well. But again, the destructibility, it's kind of a letdown from what they showed at E3.
One question for you, and then we'll move on from this.
Yeah.
Spawning. You're good,
Yes.
Gary. You're good. We see your smiling face now. Spawning. How do they handle that? And could you foresee camping of spawn points become an issue?
Well, in the game mode that they have on there now, I don't know what game modes they'll have on release, but the only one they had was 5v5, 1 life each.
Okay. Yeah. So it really is not going to matter. You're not going to be able to spawn camp. So yeah, makes sense.
No.
All right.
So yeah, they had that one, and like I said, there's about 4 or 5 places to spawn in the map, and you vote as a team, just which one gets the most votes, where you want to spawn.
Okay.
Yeah, so definitely check it out. There is a video
Awesome.
on my Twitch, Big Bad Daddy, if you want to have a look. There's no sound for the game. I fucked it up, but you can watch the game. Just watch.
Silent movies used to be a thing, man. Used to be a thing.
That's
All right, Mark. What about you, Mark? What have you been playing? And by the way, Gary, I love your attempts at bringing this podcast down to the levels of the Lousy at Gaming podcast.
You know, it's fun to be the pain in the ass
Yes.
that everybody else is to me on my podcast. So
You're filling in that role just fine.
I can play with them too. I can't be that guy on my podcast because it would never get done.
Sure.
It'd
Well,
be an
it
hour
barely
of
gets
nothing.
done as is. I mean, you
This
guys
is true.
podcast what, every third month?
Something like that.
Okay. We'd love to
Yeah,
hear
now-
more of you.
And now we're on Google Plus.
The Google Pluses.
We are
Nice.
doing it live on Google Plus.
Doing
now,
it live.
so, like you guys.
All right, Mark.
Anyway, Mark, I want to hear about
Yes.
this game.
Yeah, because you didn't really say that much about it.
I didn't talk
really.
about it.
Yeah.
Mark,
You,
I
you
played
talked, Mark. You talked for like a freaking hour last week.
I know. I don't know how to talk that really. Yeah,
You don't
Bloodborne.
need to.
I've been playing
You
a lot
don't
of
need to.
Bloodborne. Well, I have defeated 8 bosses.
That is awesome. I
Yeah.
understand that's quite an
Wow.
accomplishment.
Yeah, but it's now got to a stage where it's really, really bloody hard.
Yes.
I've just defeated Ron the Spider, the Vicious Spider, whatever he's called. And he were a pain in the ass. Because when he spawns, he's got loads of other little spiders which do tons of damage, and it took me about 20 goes to defeat him. Yeah, so it wasn't enjoyable. I was dying a lot.
Did you do that solo?
Yeah, well, no.
All right, confession time, Mark.
You either
confession.
in or you didn't. What happened?
Yeah, what's going on here?
I tried to get a co-op partner.
Okay.
Because the bosses are really, really tough. So, and it's part of the game. It's not cheating. So, but I kept ringing my bell, and I'd wait ages, and I couldn't get a co-op partner. I think I've stuffed myself up because what I did was in the early parts of the game, I farmed a lot of the echoes like you do with Souls, and I leveled up quite a bit. And I think I'm a bit too high level for what people are when they're in that part of the game.
I got something for you on calling and ringing bells, though. So talk, but remind me. I'll tell you what I found out about ringing bells.
So I must have tried 2 nights ago about 20 times to do this bloody spider, and I kept getting beat because it's in like 3 stages is the boss fight, and I could get to the last stage, but it starts throwing fucking icicles at you and all sorts of crap, and I just couldn't do it. Mm-hmm. And I used my full. I had a stash of blood vials to replenish your health. I used all 100 blood vials.
Wow!
So, and it got to the point where I had no insight to ring my bell, and I had no blood vials left, so I gave up. And when I went back on yesterday, I farmed the first area again for blood vials, and it's surprising. It only took me about an hour or so, and I got 100 blood vials back just by doing a couple of.
Did you go back to Central Yarman?
Yeah, the main part, just after the clinic.
Yep.
So I got all my blood vials back, and I managed to. I had some Madman's knowledge what I kept stored, so I got my insight back that way. So I went back to the boss fight. It's quite easy to get to from a lamp, so it's not far to go. And I've rang the bell, and I went off to make a drink, a cup of tea, and then all of a sudden I heard the noise, and I came running back in, and someone had joined. So we both went into the fight. We got to stage 2, and he died, but it was enough for me to have enough health and enough sort of like killing enough of the little spiders to beat him. So I don't know if I'd have done it on my own because it is tough. It's really
Congrats. Tough. So I was doing bell work last night. I was trying to get Denise, who you had met last week.
She bought a PS4 just for this game, Greg.
Correct. She did. She was an Xbox 360 person and converted.
She's a massive Souls fan.
She's a huge Souls fan. Yeah. So
that would and it's something like that where you're completely enveloped with one particular style of game. I can see that.
Yeah.
I can see that. Especially with Bloodborne being a big release.
Yeah, definitely. So we were playing last night, and I was ringing the bell to try to get her to come in with me. Didn't work. She was ringing the bell. I was trying to join her. It wasn't working, but then randoms were getting in with her. So we went on Reddit, and we did a little research. And apparently, do you put your PlayStation in rest a lot?
Yeah.
That's what I do. If you leave the PlayStation running for a while now, it does have problems. And it's not just this game, but I think we're feeling it in this game. Right. Where you have to reconnect to the internet. So I did a restart, went back to that spot, rung the bell, and she came right in to join me. So you may want to try, if you know you're going to get into spots where you want to play and get people or help people, you might want to do a reset of the game, shut it down, and go back in. So just a little note for you.
Yeah. Out of the 8 bosses I killed, I had help. I summoned help on the last 3. So I don't think I've done too bad by myself.
Yeah, there's no shame in asking for help.
No,
it's part of
you
the
need
game.
it. Yeah, you need it. Well,
absolutely.
I kept getting one person to help me, but I've seen some Twitch streamers where they get 2 co-op people in.
Yes, we had 2 people last night.
How do you get 2 in? Do you have to ring it twice, or do you just ring it once?
Single ring. You leave it on, and you can pull in 2 co-op partners.
Right.
If you use the password, obviously, you limit yourself. But what we did is we did the ring. I put the password in, Denise and I. She joined my game. And then after she joined, I removed the password, kept the bell ringing, and we got a 3rd person in, and we went in and we took on the bloodthirsty beast last night.
Yeah. That was a tough fight.
Yeah. Fire paper, I found out, is good.
Yeah. Yeah, well, for the I don't really want to give any spoilers, but bolt paper's a good one. If you've got bolt paper for the spider.
Volt or
I don't
bolt?
have that yet.
Bolt as in B-O-L-T or Volt?
Bolt. No, it's actually Bolt as in B-O-L-T, but it is electrified.
Okay.
Like electricity bolt,
All right.
I presume. Yeah.
Sorry. So continue on. Let's hear. What else have you been doing in Bloodborne? I know Greg's excited. Look at him.
Yes,
If I had a cat picture yawning right now, I would be putting that on display.
Well, like this.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly like that.
Yeah, so I've got to level 71 now.
All right.
Um,
And you've now
After be-
started to see your favorite screen of the game.
yeah.
Come on, Mark,
yeah,
say it. Say it.
Hang on, let me get to it. I got a load of echoes from defeating the spider, so I put some of them into some like vitality and endurance and that. So I leveled up a bit more, got to 71, and I thought, right, now I've beat that spider. I've been stuck for a day or so. I'm going to crack on now and see what else this game has to offer. The next area after the spider, oh my god, that is so tough. I don't want to say it because it's a new game, but there's just massive. Fuck off, Greg. there's massive fucking things on these buildings as you come out, and they've got like laser eyes that shoot at you. And there's I don't know if you've seen in some earlier levels. There's some like enemies what like ring little bells.
I haven't seen that yet.
Right. Well, there's some bell ringers on this part now, and what they do is when they ring the bell, these enemies just spawn out of the ground. It's like a load of blood all congealing and builds up into an enemy, and you kill them, and then she rings a bell and they reappear, and you don't get no echoes for killing them twice.
So basically, ringing a bell in Christmas time usually means an angel has got its wings, but in Bloodborne, ringing a bell means a demon has been born.
Yeah, well, you are in a nightmare, aren't you? So unless you take this bell ringer out, you're going to have the same enemies over and over again, and they do a lot of damage to you, and I was just getting killed a lot, and again, and again.
I was playing today, and Metric Pizza and I were talking. He had helped me last week with Father Gascon. But he said he's in it
as well.
He's in a section now, he said, where the bag people come out, and he says they're just coming up out of the ground now and trying to carry him away. Like, right, you don't even see him. They're coming up out of the ground, the bastards.
Yeah.
I got nothing to say to this conversation. I just want to point that out.
So I've started a second character, actually. So I could join in
for
with
punishment,
Gary.
yes.
Yeah. I'll tell you something. It's a lot easier second time round when you know what you're doing.
That I could totally see.
I got straight to the boss area to get my insights. I could get the bell straight away, and yeah. I got back to level 18 within an hour.
Yeah, they did a great job with the level designs. I don't know if the other Dark Souls games were like that. But they really set it up nice where you open up those doors and you create those shortcuts so you can get back to that boss battle pretty quick in at least three or four sections that I've been in so far.
It's actually harder in the Dark Souls games because, in Bloodborne, you've got all them stats where you've got your arcane, which is your electricity damage, you've got blood tinge, which is for your gun, I think, and your vitality and your endurance. In Dark Souls, you've got a lot more of those stats. You've got poise and all sorts of things, so there's a lot more to level up in that, in Dark Souls. But yeah, just out of interest, you know what the top level is you can get to on Bloodborne?
No, 666?
No, it's 500 and something. It's each stat 99, so it's 99 times 6. So I ain't got my calculator.
666 would have been good.
Yeah, it would have been.
It would have been fitting.
Yeah. 6 times, what did I say? 99. 594 is the highest level you can get to.
All right.
So there's a way to go, yeah.
It's a good trivia question in a couple of
grind.
weeks to Lacey.
It is a great trivia question. I don't supply the trivia, though, Gary.
Yeah. So,
I don't supply the trivia.
Now I'm level 71. If I want to put one attribute point into anything, it costs me 30,000 echoes to go up a level.
Wow.
There's people playing the player versus player builds at level 100 to just take online and fight each other. So how much that costs to level up, I don't know. But blood vials now cost me 590 something echoes each. Whereas
Wow.
when you first start the game, they're like 80.
Yeah,
So everything scales.
yeah, mine are still 300, I think.
Yeah. But you got to bear in mind, you do get more echoes for killing these enemies now. In the first area, to farm that area, you get 4,000 echoes for doing the whole area. You can get that for hitting 1 or 2 enemies in the higher
Yeah.
stage. So yeah, it does. Everything scales.
If From Software really wanted to be punishing, they would have kept the echoes the
Yeah.
same level the entire game.
Yeah. Well,
So,
because
what
I'm level
is
70
what is
Sorry,
the
go.
regular non-boss guy that you hate the most right now?
Them frigging witch things with the sacks.
With
Have
the
you seen them
sacks.
with the sacks? One
I've heard
hit,
about
and
him
that's
a
it.
lot.
Yeah, they're in the unseen village, because you get teleported there. You don't know what the fucking hell's going on, and you just get teleported there. It doesn't, because this game, like I said last week, it doesn't hold your hand. It doesn't tell you what to do, so you just end up there.
Is this the like kidnap?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think I mentioned it. Did I mention it last week?
I don't know if you've mentioned it, but I've heard
Yeah.
numerous podcasts talk about it. So.
Yeah, so yeah, you end up in this cell, in this dungeon thing, and there's these new enemies, and one of them is this like floating witch type hag thing, and it's got it's like a sack on its back, and it's got like a magical aura around it, and if it swings its sack onto you, whacks you with a bag, it drops its sack on you. It's nuts.
You love that nuts,
it's
huh?
a one-shot kill.
It would be. Fucking hell.
Yeah. It's dropping the sack on you. That definitely is a one-shot kill. All right, Mark. Anything else besides Bloodborne?
No, apart from
No.
I'm still loving it, but I need to get better at the game because it's got really tough now. But like I said, my second character, I'm going to try play with Gary, and we'll do a few more runs and that. So
Right on.
I can help
still
you
loving
now.
the game. It's definitely my top 5 of this year. At the moment, it's number 1, but it's definitely going to be a top 5 this year for me. Brilliant.
Okay.
Mm.
All right. We'll see. We'll see come December what your top 5 truly is. I have to say one funny side note. I dated a girl whose last name was Bell a ways back, and I have to admit, every time you guys said I had to ring the bell, it totally different meaning for me. Just gonna say that. Anyway, all right. For me, the golf club, obviously, been playing loads of that. Halo CE Anniversary. Dove back into the Master Chief Collection, mostly because the Halo trailers came out. The whole hooks are getting into me again. I'm getting amped for Halo, so I was playing through that. I have to say they did a great job with the Anniversary Edition. I really never played it the first time out it came out, and so getting through and playing through it this go round, I've been playing the entire campaign, and I love me some Halo. I have to say, I'm impressed, beyond impressed with what they did for the remastering of it, because they did so much more than just up-res the game, and I think that's the important part of it. That's what makes it feel special. But I won't dwell because
It works, right?
it does work. I never actually had a problem with the campaign side of the Master
The
Chief Collection.
multiplayer, right?
The multiplayer I know had issues. Certainly, that's been well documented. I don't play a ton of the multiplayer, so it didn't really impact me at all anyway. But
I wish I could play this to you. But Duke's putting the thing in the chat. The Chad Warden Galo MP3. I'm down.
Duke, come on. You cannot dispute the goodness of Halo. Don't be throwing out that Chad Warden. Warden. Anyway, all right. Look, Gary, here's a question. How long do we have you for? How much more time?
I probably have about 10 more minutes, and then I have to go get the kids.
All right, Gary, goodbye. We love you. We're going to jump into the news quiz now, Gary. So get your shout-outs here, Gary. Tell us, where can we find you, Gary? Tell us about this ridiculous podcast that every, 3 months you put on?
So we do a podcast. It's called Lousy at Podcasting. It's the official podcast of Lousy at Gaming. We do it. Actually, we've gotten a little more regular over the last couple of weeks. We've done them every 2 to 3 weeks, which is what we're trying to do. We are live on Google. You can look up a Google page, Lousy at Gaming. And we have a new regular guest, or a new host. So there's 4 of us. It's Kim Woods and Ensign Dead Meat still. But now we have Danny Zanix. He's a regular on the show.
Nice.
So that's
Cool.
fantastic. And he actually just popped into the chat. So
Hey, Danny.
that's hey, Danny. Anyway, you bitch, you. I'm fucking them up tonight. Look, it's great.
Apparently, you flash his dong at him on camera. That's what he's saying.
You saw that? It's so freaking big.
Scary.
But yeah, keep your eye out on Twitter for that. I am the real Defo. You can find me on Twitter and everywhere else, and Xbox and PlayStation as the real Defo. My only shout out is for Danny Zanix. He has a Kickstarter. He is trying to become an official podcaster. He has a terrible job,
All right.
wonderful wife, but he has no money to start this off. So he has started a Kickstarter. If you look up DannyZanix.com, you can certainly get more information on it. And he's not just doing that, but money that he collects on there is actually put into a cause that's close to his heart for battered women, domestic abuse, and unfortunately something that hit him close to home. So he does give, he is donating to that as well. So
That is a great cause.
Yep, I just wanted to shout that out. So if you do get a chance, I think I'm the only person that's donated. If anybody else out there can give him $5, please, $10.
Now that we know
Whatever.
it's out there, hey, we will
Jump out there.
Absolutely. Gary.
And you three, thank you very much for having me. I'm glad I got to ruin your night a little bit.
You
Greg.
you did not ruin the night, Gary. You merely took it down a little. That's okay. Gary, before you go, you're not getting away without answering at least one news quiz question.
All right, hit me.
All right, Gary.
Are you going to ask me a frickin' Nintendo question like they did on the Game Punchers podcast?
Your one and only question will not be a Nintendo question. Gary DeFelice, Activision has released a teaser for Black Ops 3 this past week, and it promises to reveal to the entire world the game on what date? Is it A, April 19th, B, April 26th, or C, May 3rd?
So I did see this, and I don't sound like everybody else, but I don't look at the frickin' dates. So let's see, what would my girl Amma do right now? Y'all, let's go for the middle. B.
Well, Gary DeFelice, you're right! Yes.
Thank you, Amma.
Black Ops 3
love
teaser
you,
trailer
Nicole.
it actually came out on April 9th, and it states the world reveal will happen on April 26th. So that's a Sunday night. I went in looking for any show or big event on April 26th. I couldn't find anything, so I don't know.
Game of Thrones, but they don't have commercials.
But I thought Game of Thrones comes out this week. So
Yeah, I know.
I don't know. I was at a loss. There's no Walking Dead. What is so special about Sunday, April 26th?
Maybe it's the Islanders beating the Rangers in the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Highly unlikely.
It's true.
All right. Well done, Gary, and thank you for
I
answering
got my
that.
5 points.
You got your 5 points. Who knows? Maybe you'll win the quiz.
That would be nice. Thanks for not giving me a Nintendo question like freaking Fumu.
You are welcome. Next time, Gary. Next time we'll give you a Nintendo question.
All right. Seacrest
All right.
out.
Seacrest
Rich,
out.
Mark, Greg, everybody else.
ya.
Thanks.
Bye.
Thanks,
See you
Gary.
later.
All right. Well, now that we got rid of that loser,
Let's get back to business.
back to business. All right. Gary put some pressure on you guys. He started the news quiz off strong. One question in, 1 5-point answer.
It was still a guess, though.
Still a guess, but still 5 points. So here we go. Rich and Mark, you guys have 4 questions each. So
4.
yes,
God.
there were 9 questions this past week. Gary only stuck around for one of them, so you get to split the remainder. If you guys lose to Gary, by the way, this will be utterly sickening. All right, here we go. Rich, you are up first. Rich,
Okay.
The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt announced it will bring out 2 expansion packs to the game post-launch. There will be an expansion pass option that will cost the same in the US as in and the UK. How much will that be? Is it A, $19.99 US, $19.99 British pound sterling? Is it B, $24.99, same on both sides, or C, $29.99?
I didn't actually read that part. I just read about the DLC and the hours and the names and all that.
This is why I do what I do, Rich. I pull out the little piece of nugget that I think you didn't pay attention to.
Do you know what? Should we just go straight down the middle? $24.99.
Richard Webster, is that your final answer? Are you locked
Yes.
in?
I have to be, Greg. I'm a man of my word.
Well, Richard Webster, your word is gold! Well done. Yes. The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt expansions have been announced, with over 30-plus hours of content being added into the game after launch. And it has already been named Hearts of Stone and Blood and Wine, and they'll be available separately for $9.99 and $19.99, respectively. And of course, there is a Game Plus Expansion Pass option for the PS4 and the Xbox One. They're already selling the PC version up, I think, on Good Old Games. But the cost of the Expansion Pass by itself is the same on PC and consoles, and that is $24.99 US, $24.99 British pounds sterling. So there you go.
They've gone very Bethesda on that DLC, so that's quite good.
Yes, and I mean it's a lot. It's a lot of game being added in, so I like that. You know, $25, 30-plus hours. That's a good amount to buy into. So, all right, Mark,
Yes.
are you ready?
Not really.
Not really. All right, Mark. Deus Ex: Mankind Divided was announced and is the follow-up to Deus Ex: Human Revolution.
Yeah.
What year is the game set in? Is it A, 2025, 2 years before Human Revolution? B, 2027, directly after the events of Human Revolution? Or C, 2029, 2 years after Human Revolution?
No idea. I never even played the first one either.
Oh, you missed out on a great game.
I've missed out on some stupid boss fights apparently,
Hey, let's not go
which
there.
didn't need to be there.
Maybe that's a little true.
Um,
2025, 2027, or 2029. Mark Wright, when do you think this game takes place?
2025.
Mark Wright, you are wrong. The game is set in 2029, 2 years after the events of Human Revolution. Adam Jensen returns and joins forces with the Interpol-funded task force aiming to hunt down and capture the augmented terrorists in a world that now hates and fears transhumans. So there you have it. I'm super excited for this game. I loved the first one, even with these stupid boss fights. All right. Well, Mark, I would like to say well done, but I can't.
No, Gary's beaten me already. You know.
Gary has, not necessarily, Mark. You have 3 opportunities to take him out. Now, I should mention, now that we've gone through our first round, the first 3 questions for you each will be worth 5 points. The last question I'll make worth a whopping 15 points, so you potentially can catch up and tie.
Wow.
How's that? Huh? All right. Richard Webster, your third question. Rich, Crytek revealed a big gaming engine licensing deal this past week with what company? Is it A, Activision, B, Amazon, or C, Microsoft?
I don't know.
And you call yourself
We're
a
good at this, aren't
PC
we?
gamer.
Yeah. I didn't even see it. Was that today?
It was not today. No, it was earlier in the week. Activision, Amazon, or Microsoft.
Bet you that was in the email I didn't read on like Tuesday or something. Okay. Let's just say Microsoft.
Richard Webster, you're wrong. No, Crytek has signed a major licensing deal with Amazon, of all people.
Random.
Yeah. So it's a huge deal for Crytek, obviously. And speaking at to the developer at GDC, Crytek founder Faruk Yurli and head of PR Jens Schaefer said that rather than securing funding from an investor, as many had believed they were doing, the injection of money had come from a new licensing deal that they had been working on for a long time. This to me says Amazon is getting serious about creating up some PC-style games.
Yeah.
I can't think they're going to stay in the mobile market for very much longer. I don't know, because the Crytek engine screams PC. It does not scream mobile tablet.
No, well, I was in Curry's today, and they had an Amazon Fire TV thing, and it's got a controller there and everything.
Yeah.
Ready to go.
Well, Mark, the door is open now.
right.
You can get back into this and tie up with the rest of the crew here. Mark, what did YouTube announce this past week as a new feature for content creators to deploy? Is it A, new console dashboard features, B, new Twitch special import features, or C, new content channel subscription model?
God, no idea. I'm sure there's a Twitch feed up to YouTube integration already, isn't there? Because I'm sure ours goes up there. What was the first and last one again?
The first one is a new console dashboard features, and the last one is a new content channel subscription model.
Content channel description.
Subscription, not description.
Yeah, what does that even mean, though?
Corporate blase.
It could be in the mind of Greg DeLacy. I don't know.
I know there's a lot of monetization going around with videos and stuff, so I'll go for that one. I'll go for C.
All right, Mark, right. You are right. Yes, YouTube will now have a monthly subscription option for content creators to have where if a viewer subscribes by paying the monthly subscription, that viewer will no longer see ads on video. So very similar to what we've seen with a lot of like IGNs
It's like
out
Twitch.
there.
Twitch do it as well, yeah.
The one caveat, and it's not really clear whether a viewer would pay one monthly subscription for all ad removal across YouTube, or if the viewer will have to pay individual subscribers. So that's the one difference here. So the content providers are going to be able to put it out on YouTube, and then the YouTube person, if I'm on YouTube, let's say I subscribe to the Mark Wright channel, my video ads are not going to appear whenever I watch your content, but if I watch Richard Webster's channel, maybe I'm still going to get video ads.
Yeah.
So, interesting.
I know subscriptions on Twitch are for individual followers,
right.
Individual streamers, not for the whole entirety. So you can pay a subscription to, say, Man vs. Game, but for G4TE, if we were big enough to have subscription, if
we were evil enough to monetize our channel.
Yeah, wish we wouldn't, but
no,
yeah.
we like giving it for free. All right, Mark, you've secured a tie. Yes, that is the good news across the board. Gary D. Felice cannot win the news quiz now. He merely can tie, especially because he's no longer here. I think by default he loses. All right, Richard Webster, your next question. In the latest Konami versus Kojima soap opera, what claim has been made by Australian singer-songwriter Donna Burke? Is it A, Konami has fired Kojima, B, Kojima has resigned from Konami, or C, the rumors are just a ploy by Kojima and it's all nonsense?
I think she started the rumor that he'd been fired.
Richard Webster. Well done! Yes, in fact, she did come out onto Twitter saying that he had in fact been fired. Now, there is an update. In response to this, Videogamer.com asked Konami, and a Konami spokesperson has claimed that Burke's comments are categorically incorrect. So,
see, now two things interesting there, Greg. One, what the fuck has an Australian singer got to do with the video game industry and in the Japanese video game industry as well? And two, very rarely does a video game company come out with a comment on rumors and stuff, so they must be dead serious about that.
So part of me says yes, part of me says they may just be deflecting because there's fear that the fact that he may not actually be part of the company is going to kill this game. Because
True, yeah.
We know Burke has performed Heaven's Divide for Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker and Sins of the Father for Metal Gear Solid 5 The Phantom of the Pain. So she has actually been performing music for these games. So she is close to it. But she didn't elaborate on this any further. And I forgot the guy's name, but there was another Japanese voice, I believe it's a Japanese voice actor, or one of the guys doing the voiceover for the Japanese version, came out onto Twitter saying, "Please buy our game." In a sense, kind of pleading, "Don't cancel your pre-orders based off of these rumors." He didn't deny them. He just basically was saying, hey, don't cancel your pre-order, and
Yeah.
so
There's both sides then, yeah.
this ship is just going down quickly.
And do you know what? A lot of those, a lot of people in Japan, those Japanese people, a lot of them are fans of Kojima, like, specifically that guy.
He's a rock star out there. I mean, that really is the situation, and
Yeah.
I think Konami has kind of stepped into a very rough situation. I think they felt like the game was far enough along that they could start maneuvering this way and distancing themselves from Kojima, because clearly there's going to be a breakup. There's going to be a split up at the end of this year, and they're pushing the buttons a little early. I think. I think it's potentially going to hurt. And to be honest, if the shenanigans have been going on long enough, and we only know this recently because it's bubbled up through some back channels that this stuff was going on, but I do wonder now how this is impacting the actual production of the game. I know a lot of people are like, oh, well, it's far enough along in development, it's not going to be a big deal, but we don't know how long this has been going on for. Maybe this distrust and this monitoring of emails and internet, that's been going on maybe a year back.
Yeah, you
in
never
which
know.
case, yeah. So now, how does that impact your attitude when you're coming into work every day, knowing that you don't have the freedoms you once had, and that more or less everything's over at the end of December anyway? When do you start looking for a new job? When do you start potentially abandoning ship? I don't know. It's a rough situation. Speaking of rough situations,
I was going to say, do you think that game will get delayed as well, or do you think they'll hit their September release?
I think they have to. If they don't hit their September release and that thing gets delayed out of this year, I think that would be disastrous, because then I think everybody screams, oh my God, there really is a problem. Kojima didn't really, he wasn't working on the game. There's all kinds of rumors are going to start flying around with that. All right, Mark, it's totally fitting that you get this question and not Mr. Richard Webster. Mark, GTA 5 on PC is just days away from release, and we know a lot of people are really excited about it.
Yep.
One of the things that's happening with this release, of course, Mark, is that it's shipping on DVD. So here's a question for you, Mark. How many DVDs will it take to get this game installed onto your PC? As in, how many games is it shipping with out of the box? Is it A, 7, B, 8, or C, 9?
So basically, how many DVDs is that one game on?
Yes. How many discs? When you open up your GTA 5 on PC box, how many discs are going to spill out of that thing?
Right. Let's do a bit of deduction here.
A bit of deduction. This is what I like to hear.
4.7 gigabytes is one DVD, but a dual layer one can have double that. The game, if I remember right, on the PS4, oh man, it was 40 odd gigs. Right. So what were the options again?
7 discs, 8 discs, or 9 discs. Discs.
I'm gonna have to go 9, because they're gonna have extra art assets for the PC, because there's that many options. Because there's an in-game movie director as well, isn't there? So, sod it. Yeah, I'll go 9.
Mark, I'm afraid to say you are wrong, my friend. It is 7. 7 discs. Apparently the game has actually already reached out to some retailers, and a Russian retailer, it's always the Russians, I swear to God, they basically put out a photo onto some forums and showed off 7 discs coming out of GTA 5, and Rockstar Germany has since confirmed that the PC version of GTA 5 comes with 7 discs. So there you go.
It was a 60 gigabyte download.
60 gigabyte download. That's a lot. So I'm trying to remember, the DVD 9, is that what, around 9 gigs on a DVD 9?
8.5 gigs, I think.
So that would make about sense.
Yeah. So I was working out as if it were normal DVDs. So yeah, I should have realized it'd be made double ones.
Yeah. Yep. All right. That means, Mark, you did not get that right, but all hope is not lost. All hope is not lost.
Still there.
Rich, normally we'd come back to you, but we're going to give Mark the opportunity right now to take the lead.
Oh, God.
Mark, are you ready?
Yes. As
All
long
right.
as it's not Nintendo.
Mark, Lego announced this past week what? Is it
Basically,
A,
Nintendo.
Superman versus Superman versus Batman, the Lego game? Is it B, Lego Dimensions, or C, the Lego Universe at War game?
The Lego Dimensions rings a bell. I'm sure I've seen something about that. I didn't know it was a game. I thought it was actual toys. I'll have to go with my gut feeling. I'll say Dimensions.
Mark, right. Well done!
Oh, God,
Yes! Yes, the creativity of Lego
Oh.
building meets the epic storytelling of Lego video games for multi-dimensional fun as a fan favorite. Worlds converge in one thrilling adventure with Lego Dimensions. Basically, I think this is Lego's Skylanders.
Right.
For lack of a better way to put it, you'll be able to kind of create some things within the Lego universe, and then you put them into this pedestal or portal, and it'll transform it into the game.
I thought I'd seen some sort of toy you actually buy. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's why I thought it was the normal Lego. I didn't realize it was a game. So yeah,
Yeah, well done. Well done.
Pressure is on. Well done, mate.
yeah.
Yes, pressure is indeed on. All right, Richard Webster, your question. Are you ready?
Yeah.
What company this week announced that their CEO will be departing? Is it A, Zynga, B, PopCap, or C, Bethesda?
Isn't Zynga's CEO Don Matic?
Yeah, that fucking knob on my Xbox.
I'm sure I read somewhere that you might believe in anyway. I don't know the answer, so I'm just going to go with Zynga.
Richard Webster.
I'd have guessed that as well.
You won the quiz! Yes! It is in fact Zynga. Don Matrick will be stepping down as CEO, and
That didn't last long, did it?
Not really. No, not at all. And then Mark Pincus, who was Zynga's former CEO, is going to actually be returning into the role. So there we go. Matrick out not only for CEO, but also the board of directors. And that all takes place 2 days ago. So there you go. He left
Do you know
as
what,
of
I read
April
that-
8th.
I read that a couple of weeks ago, or even a couple of months ago. I read that like Zynga weren't happy with him, and he was basically just an absolute knob.
Yeah.
Just didn't like him.
I think he, when he took over for Xbox 360, he had some good ideas that helped, it helped push the 360 forward, but he also had a bunch of horrible ideas. And ultimately, his horrible ideas were surfacing to the top a lot more towards the end of the life cycle of the 360, and then into the beginning of the Xbox One. And I can't imagine he has done anything good for Zynga. It'll be interesting to see where and if he pops back up in the video game world, or if this is kind of his last hurrah, and we don't hear from him anymore. Either way, well done, Mr. Webster.
Cheers.
All right. Well, for doing that, Webster, you get the honor of taking the first the first listener trivia question. I'm stuttering here
Is
for a
it not
second.
a Jason Johnson one?
No, we actually have a
Wow.
Jason Johnson one, but we also have a Kyle Adams question, and I'm just waiting for the document to open back up because stupidly I closed it after. I was so excited that Rich won the quiz with that. I was like, and then I closed everything up.
Closing all that shit down.
I know. All right, here we go. Come on, Google Docs. Scroll down so we can get on with our trivia. All right. Man, it is amazing how slow Google Docs is running right now. All right, well, one, I want to say thank you to Kyle Adams for getting into the trivia, because it's exciting to see that we have new participation. And it's a back-of-the-box question.
Oh, I like these.
Yeah. Now, he did write in an email, so I'm going to read off the email first. So he said, "Hi, all. Fantastic work on the podcast, each and every one of you. And for that, I thought I'd provide with a little back-of-the-box quote. It's in relation to the Head teachers threaten to contact police over children playing 18-rated games. News story from the other day. So this is actually something we were going to be talking about within the podcast anyway. So it's timely. I said this is a game I was probably playing underage at the time, and I think it should be fairly easy to guess. So here goes. All right, Mr. Webster, are you ready?
Always.
You awake to the sound of your own panicked breath. You must run, hide, and fight to survive. If you stay alive long enough, you may find out who did this to you. This is a brutal blood sport. America is full of run-down, broken, Rust Belt towns where nobody cares and anything goes. In Carcerer City, nothing matters anymore, and all that's left are cheap thrills. The ultimate rush is the power to grant life and take it away for sport. This time, James Earl Cash, you are the sport. They gave you your life back. Now they're going to hunt you down. What game is that?
Ooh, I've got a guess. I'm going to let it sizzle for a couple of seconds to build tension on the podcast. So
That's good. I have a clue that I will drop if both of you can't guess the game.
I'm going to go for a guess. I think I might have this one.
All right. Your
But I don't
guess
have the
is?
game. I'm going to say Manhunt.
Richard Webster. That is disappointing because you're right! Yes, it is Manhunt. Yeah, that was
Okay,
quite the
wait, was the,
controversial.
It was the, like, full of people, like, and taking away life and all that.
Yeah, yeah. The back of the box was pretty. I mean, if you knew of the game, I think that was a game I had zero desire to play. By the way, I just throw that out there. I know a lot of people were like, "Oh my god, you got to try it," but I didn't want to play it.
I never played
Yeah.
it.
Yeah,
No, I wasn't a big fan of it.
yeah.
To play
But
it, really.
while we're here, let's talk about this real quick. Violent video games, underage 18-year-old kids or under 18-year-old kids playing video games that they shouldn't. Should we be getting the authorities involved in this kind of stuff? Should there be actual legal ramifications to underage kids getting a hold of these games?
I think it's a grey area when they're in the late teens. I think some of them are mature enough to accept it. It's when you're talking little kids, primary school kids, and that. That's when I totally agree. They should get someone involved. They shouldn't be subjecting their kids to that sort of thing.
So we're basically now we're saying we're going to create like a subcategory. So it's like a 18 rated game and then a 15 rated game. But don't we already have that?
But we do that. That's called Peggy. So, well, yeah.
Okay. Well, then should we be lowering the age? Should it be 16 and under for adult games that kids can't play it? 16 and under, and anybody over 16?
It just depends on the game, doesn't it?
Well, I mean, that's
if you're like 17 years old, and we've all been there when we're 17, and we've all gone to the movies to see a film we shouldn't have.
Right. I'm old enough, man.
Yeah.
Now, when you snuck into an R-rated movie or a 17 and over only movie, was there fear from you that the authorities would get involved, that the police would come and put the cuffs on you, or?
Not to that extent. No, you just get worried you're going to get thrown out, don't you?
Right. Yeah. And do you think like the movie theater? I mean, this is a good parallel. I know it's not the video games, but I mean we grew up with the movies being the equivalent of this.
Yeah.
Do you think the movie theater should be, held accountable for allowing you to have snuck into that movie?
Yeah, they should be checking IDs. I know they've got a lot stricter recently, especially like with the drinking side of stuff. But
right.
A lot of it now, you have to prove your ID, even when you're old enough, but up to a certain age, what they think you should be. So, but game-wise, I don't know. You've got the problem as well is the parents don't know, do they? If the parents are not into video games, they're not going to know what they're buying, so they really need to check what's on the box and what age rating's on the box, I think.
Right.
So it's a massive kettle of fish, is this?
It is. Rich, what do you think? I mean, Do you think that we should, be actually getting the authorities involved with these kind of scenarios? I mean, someone rents or lets somebody, buy an mature game. Should, police get involved? Should, special fines be involved?
I think I share Mark's thoughts on this. 14, 15, parents are going to know if their kid's mature enough to understand and know the difference between real life and game life and right and wrong and stuff. And in a way, it doesn't really matter how old the kid is. It's up to the parent to decide what they deem suitable for their kid. If that parent deems Call of Duty suitable for their 6-year-old, then maybe that parent needs some teaching. Right and wrong, it's the parent's fault. So there's that as well, but also there's a thing, I don't know if they still impose it now, but there was a thing in the UK a few years ago called the Watershed, where TV programs weren't shown until after 9 o'clock that had violence in.
Right. We had a very similar thing. It was like primetime television. You couldn't really show certain things in primetime. It had to wait till after, which usually I think primetime is considered 8 to 10 p.m.
Yeah. So I think there's because it's not just kids playing the games. They said in this article that it would be kids that witness their parents playing these games.
Yeah, that's another problem. Yeah.
Right.
So if you're there at 5 o'clock in the afternoon playing Resident Evil 5 and your 4-year-old walks past, then that's child abuse because they can see it. So it's about being responsible what you're doing as well.
But I mean, I'm getting my kid ready for the zombie apocalypse. I mean, how else am I going to teach them that?
And that's the other side
use
of
a
the
shotgun.
like I said at the beginning, at the end of the day, it is the parents' responsibility to decide that for themselves. But it's this. You could say, well, it's the parents' responsibility to decide if they should teach their kids to look left and right before they cross the road. If they choose not to, it's their choice. But that kid could get hurt, so it's
right.
It's impactful their choice to not or do something.
And I guess this brings up the very controversial topic of, is it the government's place then to tell parents how to parent? Because in effect, that's what we're basically asking the government to do, is bring the hammer down on parents that don't parent the way we deem.
I don't think you should bring the hammer down. I think Rich is spot on where he says that the parents need educating. So that article,
we round them up and we send them to internment camps.
No. That article in the paper we were on about you either they'll threaten to ring the police or the authorities. I think what they mean is they'll ring child social services,
right,
and then a social worker will come round and visit the parents and say, "Oh, were you aware your kid's been talking about this game, or how has he got access to it?" Or
okay, so that scenario, Mark. But let me throw this out there. That scenario, you're the social worker. You're coming out to me and you're saying, "Hey, are you aware, little Johnny?" Or little Colin in my case, who is playing, Call of Duty, and that's a mature 18 and over game, and he's talking about it at school. And what if I say to you, yeah, I know, little Colin, he's 6, but man, he's like 18 in a 6-year-old body.
Some people will say that.
Yeah. I guarantee that will happen. I mean, at that point, what are we asking the authorities to do?
I have no idea.
Yeah,
I'm glad I'm not a social worker because I wouldn't have a clue. What can they do? They'd have to go down the imposing fines and all that crap, won't they?
Fines is the only thing they can do, really.
Right.
Yeah, fines, and parents have to go do time if it comes to it. Well, that's what happens if you don't go to school and stuff. So
now the crazy scenario. What are you doing? Why are you in jail today? Well, my little kid was playing Call of Duty, so I got thrown in jail.
Yeah.
I think if you look at it from the purely...
There's people in jail who's in there because the kid's not been to school because they wag off all the time. And that's the
true.
Kid who's a rebel, and the parents didn't want that, but that happens.
True.
If you look at it from
that's a good point, Mark.
Absolute right-wing view of it is that it's child abuse. Letting a 6-year-old watch Resident Evil or Call of Duty is child abuse because...
Freedom of speech, baby. Freedom of speech.
and that's the other thing. Like, where does freedom of choice and what is ethical or moral? Where's the line drawn between those two? Because on one hand, like I said, it's my kid. I had that kid. I decide what I show him. It's none of your fucking business what I do in my house. That's the one side of it. Then the other side is that kid has no way of deciding what's right or wrong for himself.
Right.
And if you can't make that choice, then we'll make it for you.
You know, I'm playing a lot of devil's advocate here between the three of us because, you know, I want to try and present that other side. I'm a very conservative person when it comes to the whole child rearing thing. I do struggle with this though because I mean there are a lot of moral dilemmas, but I usually fall on the side of it, and it's a tough one because individuals get impacted by this, but I do fall on the typical view of what's good for the majority is, you know, good for all, so to speak. So if we as a society deem that it needs to be this way, then, you know, it needs to be the letter of the law. And Mark, I think you made an excellent point about the school. I didn't even think about that, but truancy, absolutely. Parents are held accountable for their kids. If your kids continually drop out of school, the parents are held accountable for that.
Some parents, they're just as bad as the kids and they deserve it. But
Right.
there are some parents who have tried everything to get the kids to go to school, and the authorities have no other option because there's nowhere else for them to go.
Yeah, I would hope that at some point the authorities would be able to determine or see through a little bit of that fog and say, look, we get it. You're trying everything. This kid is just a bad seed. It's not your fault. But I mean, at that point, maybe as harsh as this sounds, is instead of throwing the parents in jail, maybe you just take that kid away and put him into some kind of very structured program. Make him watch movies over and over again until he's brainwashed.
Finding Nemo.
Works. Yeah.
But I think a lot of it, and it's something we don't do anymore, is we just need to use common sense. Like, mine are grown up now, so I don't really enter my head anymore, but with the new sort of like additions to the family with my son's girlfriend, the little kids, I've had to start rethinking all that again. So... Well,
that's my symbol for you, Mark. Look in the show notes.
Oh, right. I'm on the Twitch page.
All right.
Yeah.
You
So,
know, it's a topic
where was
I don't
I?
think we're going to be able to actually
Yeah.
settle.
No, but what was I just going to say is, say your kid's 15 and he wants to play Call of Duty, and you've seen the game yourself, and you think they do know the difference between that's a game and not reality. Then I think that's a bit more of a grey area, whereas if
Right.
it was like an 8 or a 9-year-old, so it's a bit of a funny one.
Yeah, it's definitely a case-by-case basis, I think.
Well, and I think that's just the problem is when I would agree it is going to be very dependent upon the kid in terms of what they can handle and what they can't handle in reality. But the other hard reality is with laws, you can't do case by case. It needs to be, you know, laws, the effective laws are black and white. The ineffective laws are the ones that have a bunch of gray area because then people abuse it. They try to get around it. So I don't know that you're going to be able to apply a gray area to something like this. It's going to probably be all or nothing. And then that begs the question of, is 18 the right age as a cutoff? And maybe that's where we address it. Maybe we go back and rethink that as an industry and say, you know what, maybe 16 is probably a better age cutoff for mature rated games. Because
Well,
God knows
I think
the content...
The PEGI system works well, though, doesn't it? The PEGI system, you've got 12, 15, 16, and 18.
Right.
So it gives you quite a lot of scope
Yeah. No.
to fit into a category.
And you're right, because I mean, with the ESRB out here in North America, it's E, teen, mature, and AO, and so that is there's more wiggle room because, you know, again, you're applying kind of these generic terms, even though they have age ratings set to it. You know, teen I think is 14 plus, and mature is 18 plus. I almost kind of want to see a PEGI system where it's actual numbers put to it, and the numbers being put to it also maybe are tweaked a little bit. Maybe we do go the PEGI route where we've got 15 and 16 as some in between areas.
Yeah, I'd say Call of Duty was probably more of a 16 game, whereas Resident Evil would probably be more leaning towards the 18.
Yeah, and I might even say, Rich, it depends on the Call of Duty because some have been a little more tame.
That airport one.
Yeah, that airport one was
Call
rough,
of Duty
man.
2.
Yeah.
Modern Warfare 2.
Call of Duty 4 was quite, slow.
Yeah.
On that regard.
Yeah, but I mean, Modern Warfare 2, that would have been like 18, at least in my eyes. Just because the topic it's dealing with, and also kind of what we've been seeing just in the world in reality now. It feels just a little too close for home. Anyway, all right, well, let's table this. Let's get back to our trivia because we still have more trivia, guys.
Oh, wow.
Jason Johnson also chimed in with some trivia for us. So we will start with you, Mark. Jason Johnson threw in this first question for you. You're going to love this one. Mark, what is the total number of different kinds of monster in Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate? Is it A, 75, B, 23, C, 98, or D, 72? How many different kinds of monsters are in Monster Hunter 4? 75, 23, 98, 72.
No idea.
Hut hike.
And it's a Nintendo game as well, isn't it?
It is a Nintendo game, indeed.
And I've never played it. I've heard it's good. It's got 98. Just sheer fun of it.
Well, for the sheer fun of it.
We couldn't quite make 100, but we'll do 98.
Mark, that's ingenious guessing. Good job. Yes, 98. All right, moving along. Mr. Webster, which of these warships is not a ship that's available in World of Warships? Is it A, a frigate, B, cruisers, C, destroyers, or D, aircraft carriers? Which of those warships is not a ship available in World of Warships?
Frigate, cruiser. I know my ships. You see, frigate.
You know your
cruiser,
ships. Frigate, cruisers,
frigate,
destroyers,
cruiser, destroyer.
aircraft carriers. I can
See,
confirm these are all ships.
I don't know the game, but aircraft carrier seems the obvious one because that can't really do anything as much. It's more of a place for planes to launch.
Yeah, aircraft carrier. Is that your final answer?
Frigate, cruiser, destroyer, cruiser, frigate, cruiser, frigate, cruiser, destroyer, frigate. Fuck it, yeah, whatever. It's either that or destroyer. No, it's either that or frigate, but I'll go with aircraft carrier.
Mr. Webster, you are wrong. Mark writes, which of these warships is not a ship available in World of Warships? Frigate, cruiser, or destroyer?
I would have said aircraft carrier as well.
It did stand out as the one that was different. Which one of these is not the same?
Now, a frigate and the destroyer, they've got loads of guns on. A cruiser, I don't know about a cruiser. I've not heard that term. I'm not into my ships like Mr. Webster. I'll say cruiser. That sounds more like a transport ship.
Ah, yes, Mark, right? Wrong!
Ah!
Richard Webster, frigate or destroyer, which of these is not a ship available in World of Warships, according to Google?
Just, I'm not looking, by the way, just so you know.
I'm
just wondering,
you.
do you think one of them ships is available?
No, I do not.
That's HMS Victory, by the way. Her Majesty's ship, Victory.
Was it a frigate or a cruiser or a destroyer? I know it's not an aircraft carrier.
I think it's a galley. I think that's what. I don't know. Galley.
Okay, all right.
So what's left?
Frigate or destroyer?
I'm gonna go frigate.
Well, frigate A, you should have gone with frigate in the first place because that's the right answer. Frigate, not available in World of Warships.
Little
see the difference.
frigates.
The difference between a frigate and a cruiser is the frigate has 18-inch rear welded bolts on the side.
I thought
Whereas
you were going to say rear-wheel drive then.
I know. That's what I was going with too. Like, yep. it does.
the frigate has 18-inch rear welded bolts on the back, whereas the destroyer has got spaceships. I just make this up. I don't even know what I'm talking about.
Clearly. All right. We are back over to Mr. Mark Wright. Mark, what genre of game is Black Desert? Is it A, a first-person shooter, B, an MMORPG, C, a top-down action game, or D, a racing game? Black Desert.
Never heard of it.
Or Black Desert if we threw in an extra S.
What genre? Was there RTS in there?
There was not.
What was no.
A, first-person
There's-
shooter,
That's not RTSing.
MMORPG,
Mm.
top-down action game, or D, racing game? What genre is Black Desert, aka Black Desert?
Black Desert. Oh, God. I just keep getting, with the word desert, I keep getting Desert Strike in my head. I don't know why, so I'll have to say shooter.
You're going to say first-person shooter, and you would be
Yeah.
wrong!
Yeah.
Mr. Webster, your choice is MMORPG, top-down action game, or racing game. Black Desert. Or Black Dessert. Black Pudding.
Black Desert. Racing game makes sense. But then again, it sounds like an action game as well. But I'm going to go action game. Top down
Going action game, and you are top-down wrong! Mark Wright, MMORPG, or racing game.
Now, I ain't going to take credit for this because Parsnips put in the chat, sounds like a racing game because of tarmac. Tarmac's black desert, a desert of tarmac. And that sounds like it's the perfect thing for that, so I'll say racing game.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Gutted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I should have seen that first.
Don't
Yeah.
listen to
I thought
Parsnip
you were.
Nose. Don't listen to
He's
Parsnip
wrong.
Nose because he's wrong!
Oh, no!
It is an MMORPG. Big F and failure. Wow. Disappointed. And Dorian, come on. Really? Black tarmac. Really? Come on. All right. Let us move on to the last question. It is back of the box time again. Here we go. Rich, you're kicking it off. Welcome to the New World Order. In this gritty high-tech world, guerrilla strategies, savage combat, and merciless destruction are the norm. Choose a side and then prepare for combat in a global scale. Will you rule or be ruled? What is this game?
Like with Manhunt, I think I have an idea based on my Sherlock Holmes level of...
Right. If
No-
it's
nothing
anything
with
like
this.
Black Desert, it's going to be wrong.
I'm going to shout...
You don't have to
Just-
shout it. Just say it. It's okay.
It
Don't
just
be
seems
nervous.
obvious. It seems really obvious. I don't know. Red Faction Guerrilla.
Wrong! Mark Wright. Welcome to the New World Order. In this gritty, high-tech world, guerrilla strategies, savage combat, and merciless destruction are the norm. Choose a side and then prepare for combat on a global scale. Will you rule or be ruled? What is this game?
It sounds familiar, does
I,
this?
I do have a hint after you make your guess, if you get it
Alright.
incorrect, which I'm assuming you're going to.
I don't know why, but I'm thinking Brink because that was supposed to be two factions, lots of players on each side, multiplayer, a lot of tech involved. So I know it's wrong, but I'll guess at Brink.
All right. Brink is your answer. Did you get that from Dorian? 'Cause you're wrong!
No, I didn't.
Ouch.
All right. Here is your clue, Mr. Webster. It's a PC game from 1995.
Oh my god!
Here we
20
go.
years ago, that.
Welcome to the New World Order. In this gritty, high-tech world, guerrilla strategies, savage combat, and merciless destruction are the norm. Choose a side and then prepare for combat on a global scale. Will you rule or be ruled? Mr. Webster, what game am I?
1995. Have you got a clue of what genre it is?
I do. I will give that clue. I don't know if this is
Mark,
going to help or not. I don't know if this is going to help or not, but I'll give
Have you got
this
any
clue.
idea up to now?
No,
All right.
I haven't.
I'm going to give the clue
20 years ago, man.
to the genre RTS.
1995 RTS.
I think I know.
StarCraft.
Richard Webster, wrong!
Oh.
Command and Conquer.
Mark, right! Right!
Yes! Well done.
Yes, Command and Conquer. Well done. Well played. Great questions, Jason. Thank you, Kyle Adam, for sending those in. Awesome stuff. All right, let us move on. We are starting to get long in the tooth on this podcast, so let's bounce in real quick, Rich, real fast. April GTA 5 PC month. Talk about it real fast as we prep up for new releases that Mark Wright's going to read off.
Yeah, so we've got GTA 5 on PC. We're giving it away one disc at a time.
That would be fucking horrible.
You
Just
gotta
mail
do
it
this for
off.
7 weeks.
7 days in a row. Yep.
Yeah. We're giving away, you just got to go to our Facebook page, our G4TE Facebook group. There is a post on there on the wall that's about the GTA 5 PC giveaway. You just have to like that post. That is it. I do have some PC upgrade stuff to talk about, Greg, if there's time.
Yeah, go for it.
Really quick. I teased on Twitter that I'll be upgrading my PC soon. It's upgrade time again. I'll be upgrading my case, my memory, my hard drive, and some new fans.
No.
And my graphics card as well. I'm just going to... I don't need to upgrade my processor or motherboard because they're pretty good as is. The recommended requirement for GTA 5 on PC is an AMD FX 8350, which I've got. So I think that'll do for now. If anyone's interested, the RAM I'm choosing is G-Skill F3 1866 C9D. It's an 1866 megahertz CL9 module. 2 times 8 gigabyte, 16 gigabyte total in dual channel RAM with 99924 timings. So they're pretty tight for a standard without overclocking, so that's quite good. The case I'm going with, guys, is the Corsair Carbide Series 300R. It's modest. It's about 60, 70 pounds, but it's got a lot of space for a case of that, like a medium size. Solid state drive, I'm going with a Crucial 128 gigabyte. I might upgrade that to 256 SATA 6 SSD for my OS. I'll be installing that when I get Windows.
Let's talk about Windows 10 real quick. I know we had some questions. Stu Lucky, he was asking about Windows 8 upgrades and if he should upgrade to 8.1. I think it was for his parents' machine, if I'm not mistaken, or if he should just wait for Windows 10. I know, Rich, you initially were under the impression that Windows 8.1 was a paid-for upgrade, but as long as you're running Windows 8, you can upgrade to Windows 8.1 for free, and they don't have a time limit on that. So I would say upgrade to that now, because Windows 8.1 is way better than 8.
Yes, definitely.
It really is an improvement, and this way you're not having to just sit there and wait for 10 to come out.
Yeah, because they say summer, but you know, when's that?
When is summer? It could be August 31st or 30th.
So I'm upgrading a few bits and bobs on there. I've got an idea in my head that I want to try and get the best out of my system possible. A quick pro tip for anyone out there who installs RAM on their PC.
Pro tip.
You may buy, for example, 1600 megahertz RAM. Put it in your machine, but it might be running at a lower speed. What you need to do is go into your BIOS settings in your motherboard and make sure it's actually running at the highest speed that it can, because by default it might not be, and that was the case with my Asus motherboard when I got it. So just watch out. So you might spend $50 more on faster RAM that you're not even getting any use out of.
Okay, that is good to know.
Fans, this 300R Corsair case has got space for about, I think, 4 or 6 fan expansions. A couple at the front, a couple at the top, and some on the side. It's got a side window panel with 2 fan spaces on the side there. I'm going with Arctic fans because they seem to be the quietest, but give the best airflow as well. 120 and 140 millimeter fans are probably the way forward for them.
Are you going with the lights scenario? Are you going to make the fancy PC mod, with the lights and the glowing fans, that kind of thing, or are you staying away from that?
No, I like modest,
Modest, yeah. I used to have a PC. It had the glowing fans, that kind of thing, in my tower, and I hated it. Absolutely hated it. It was cool for like a day, and then suddenly I realized at night it was glowing all the time. I was like, Jesus Christ. Anyway,
it'll keep me fish up. I don't want to be doing that.
just on a side note there, did you hear the Veteran Gamers podcast a couple of weeks ago?
Of course not. I never listened to that podcast.
Stu took his PC in for repair because it went faulty, had a faulty power supply, and when it came back, they'd replace a fan at the back, and it didn't have his little light up LEDs in it, and he was gutted.
Oh, I would have been angry. That's legitimate anger moment. Don't be pulling. They probably stole his fancy light fan.
So you two don't want lights in it, and then Stu's crying because he's been taken out.
Yeah, screw that, man.
Yeah.
The biggest thing of part of this upgrade is it's time to upgrade my graphics card, and the graphics card for gaming is probably one of the most important things in there.
What's the decision?
I'm switching from Nvidia. I'm currently using Nvidia. I'm switching over back to AMD.
Wow.
Which is a big decision.
That is a big decision.
I've currently got a GTX 760, which I upgraded about a year and a little bit ago.
Okay.
It's got 2 gigabytes of RAM, but it's overclocked, so it's a little bit faster. The 2 gigabytes of video RAM is going to start being not enough for what I want to do. So I need a graphics card that's faster, but also more capable with RAM. So I'm going with what I've sort of researched to be the best single card AMD card out there.
Right.
Because some cards, I'm not sure if you know this, Greg and Mark, but some cards, they actually come as 2 cards basically stuck together in 1 card. I don't know if you knew that.
It's been a long time since I used to build PCs.
Yeah, I was just going to say.
Yeah, so the cards behave as they would in Crossfire or SLI, so you still have the problems of sometimes out-of-sync frames and stuttering and stuff, but they sell it as one single unit, so it's basically twice as powerful, but like I said, you get the downside. So it's the best single card performing AMD card that I could find, and it's the Sapphire Radeon R9 290X Vapor X graphics card. This baby is about 35 centimeters long. It has 3 fans because the R9 290 series is known for being very hot. This has 3 fans. I think it idles at about 30, and on full load, I don't even think it reaches 50 degrees. So it's very good, and it has 8 gigabytes of video RAM.
8 gigabytes of video RAM.
Yeah, now some people might say that's overkill and all that sort of stuff, but it's a very fast card in itself, so it will be able to sort of keep up with speeds as well, and the 8 gigabytes there to store textures and stuff, because especially if you're going on to 4K and things like that, 4K 30 frames per second, this can handle a lot of the top games at 4K 30 frames per second easily on even some medium to high settings, so I'm definitely happy with that. And the comparable AMD Nvidia card, the GTX 980, is about 150 to 200 quid more, maybe even more than that.
Okay.
And the performance gains is not enough to warrant an extra 200 quid. So I'm going with that. So that's going to be my upgrade of my new system. So I'll put a couple of pictures up on Twitter and I'll do some videos to show show some of the new stuff. And a quick tip for RAM. Now this is a bit of a misinterpreted thing, just really quickly. The RAM speed, a lot of websites say that 1600 megahertz is the only speed you really need. Any faster you won't really benefit in gaming, because when they show benchmarks, they show average frame rates and they show maximum frame rate. So they'll say, oh, with this RAM you get an average of 50 frames per second, max 70. And then they'll put faster RAM in and they'll get the same or very dissimilar results and just say, oh, there's no point. What faster RAM actually does, not only does it help with general computer stuff like photos, video editing, and browsing and computer speed, it actually increases your minimum frame rate, which is the most important one. A lot of websites say, oh, this graphics card will get you 80 frames per second, but they don't talk about necessarily minimum frame rates a lot of the time. The higher minimum frame rate, the smoother game you're going to get. I'd rather have a game that only does 30 frames per second, but stays at 30, rather than going from 30 to 10. So higher RAM speeds will get you higher minimum frame rates, depending on the system that you've got. So just look into that as an option if you've got the extra little cash. I've got a couple of quick questions from the community, and then I'll throw this off because PC upgrading questions. So Stu Leckie asked another question, Greg.
All right.
He said he's currently running SLI 480s, so that's two GTX 480s.